And I'll start off by reading a quote from a philosopher named Friedrich Nietzsche. I think he was kind of a dark soul in many ways, but he had a great quote that I wanted to kind of start you thinking about. He said, "There's some fundamental certainty which a noble soul has about itself, something which is not to be sought, is not to be found, and perhaps also is not to be lost. The noble soul has reverence for itself." Now, when you hear the term reverence coming off of Easter Sunday, and normally it's used in what kinds of conversations? Conversations about faith and religion, spirituality. And while having reverence for your higher power, that's important to you, is certainly something that we could all do a better job at. How important is it also, or is it that we have reverence for ourselves? Is it important? If we don't, are there consequences if we don't? Absolutely. We're going to give that reverence for ourselves a name. We're going to call it this. We're going to call it self-esteem. And specifically, we're going to refer to it as healthy self-esteem. And here's what self-esteem really is. It's the degree that you like and respect yourself, the way you are, warts and all, and that you feel confident to deal with life's challenges. Okay? Those really are two different components. That means you can wake up in the morning, you can walk into the bathroom, look in the mirror before you shower, and the first words, as you speak to yourself, are not, "You again." Your first words to yourself are, "Hey, not perfect, but I think I'll keep it." What's the alternative? So it's that warm sense of regard that you have back to yourself, and it's that sense that, you know what? I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know what the day has in store for me, but generally, I find that I'll probably have what it takes to get through today pretty well. So it's that feeling of warm regard and that sense of confidence that you have what it takes. If you don't have that, it becomes very difficult to extend that to other people or to contribute to it to other people. A really easy way of saying it is it's how warm, friendly, and appreciative you feel towards yourself. That's it. And if you had to give yourself a grade, and I won't ask you to do this right now, at least out loud, what grade would you give yourself? Are you your own biggest cheerleader? Are you throwing rocks at yourself all day long? Because if you're doing the latter, you're going to be hard pressed to support a work culture where everybody's totally respected. Okay? So here's what happens. If we do have this thing called self-esteem, I am going to share with you some steps for building, by the way. Here's what happens. Our ability to assume personal accountability goes up. I don't need to be perfect. If I have healthy self-esteem, if I make a mistake, I'll say, "Hey, I made a mistake, let me go fix it. I'll take care of it." And I don't need to rub other people's noses in it either. I tend to be prone to have healthier relationships with other people. I treat myself well, so I treat other people well. I tend to be more open-minded. I tend to let myself be swayed by other people in a positive way because I don't have to be right all the time. I'm looking for the best answer, not the way to make my answer the one that everybody falls upon. I have a greater capacity for empathy, for understanding how other people feel. You know why? Because I'm not trying to nurture myself all the time. If I have high regard for myself, I feel strong, there's more of me available to be considerate about how other people feel. Higher tolerance for differences. You ever notice is people who have really a hard time being around those who are different? It's because they don't feel good about themselves. And how do you think they look at other people who are different or see the world differently than they do? They feel threatened by that. So if I feel confident in myself, I'm much more capable of interacting with people who see the world differently. Here's what happens if you have low self-esteem. And again, I will say that you will probably see some faces flashing in front of you that go down through this list. The first thing is we have a couple different manifestations of this thing called hostility. We withhold from other people. We withhold our attention. You know what you do. How many now think about this? It's kind of fun. How many of us have played the whole withholding game with our spouses? You're guilty of something, and you should know what you were guilty of. I don't have to tell you. I'm not going to acknowledge you until you apologize. You know? And we can do this back and forth. So we withhold, but there's other things that we can withhold. We can withhold compliments when we know someone went above and beyond. And they know that, and they know that we know, and we intentionally say, "Oh, I didn't tell that. That's what they're paid to do." Okay? We can withhold our attention. We can withhold our love from people. We can withhold a lot of things. Another form of hostility, button pushing. Doing the little things that we know are going to get under the skin of other people. Okay? It could be the rolling of the, it could be in a staff meeting and someone makes a suggestion, you're the one sitting there rolling your eyes. And why do we do that? Because it bugs them and temporarily, just for a split second, it makes us feel powerful. So if that's the only place that my power is coming from, it only doesn't last long. I gotta keep doing it over and over again. And when it quits working on one person, I'll go find someone else to do it to, right? And then the final thing we do is we attack others. And this is the rumors, this is the gossiping, anything to disparage the reputation of somebody else. So-and-so did, so-and-so. Why do we do it? Because it makes us feel powerful. Those kinds of behaviors we just need to get rid of. Okay? Here's a couple other things that low self-esteem leads to. Stuck thinking. I'm probably the least inclined to be open-minded if I have low self-esteem because my very sense of self-worth is dictated by my being right, and specifically my being right in front of other people. So if I have healthy self-esteem, I don't need to be right all the time. And I don't expect myself to be right either. The other thing that low self-esteem leads to is unhealthy competition. I'm always comparing myself and trying to compete with others and making myself look good in front of others. And maybe playing one-upsmanship with other people. And if I don't stack up to somebody else, then I feel badly about myself. Okay? And then finally, and I know you've seen this one, people with low self-esteem are always making excuses for why they did wasn't the right thing to do. Why it was okay to treat somebody else poorly. Okay? How do you know somebody who demonstrates some of these? Do some of them hit us on occasion ourselves? Probably.